In Donald Trump's second term, a single figure directs the course of American foreign policy. Marco Rubio is serving as both Secretary of State and National Security Advisor. Managing the diplomatic corps and the national security apparatus from the White House consolidates immense authority. This combination of power hasn't been concentrated in one office since Henry Kissinger in the 1970s. In 2016, this partnership seemed impossible. Donald Trump built his political brand on strict isolationism, while Rubio campaigned on a traditional Reagan-style platform of global intervention and aggressive moral clarity. Their rivalry was personal and public. Rubio dismissed Trump as a con artist who would be selling watches in Manhattan without his inheritance. Trump fired back, branding him Little Marco and mocking him as a puppet of the establishment. The MAGA movement originally aimed to purge Washington insiders to make room for loyal isolationists who would prioritize American interests over global commitments. Yet the most prominent advocate for foreign intervention in the party now controls the foreign policy engine of the administration. Rubio overcame this deep ideological divide by becoming indispensable to the movement that fought his career. Rubio's worldview was formed in the exile community of Miami. As the son of working-class parents who left Cuba, he grew up in a culture defined by fierce anti-communism. That opposition to socialist dictatorships became the core of his political identity. He didn't rise to power through grandstanding alone. In the Florida legislature, he built a reputation as a workaholic who obsessed over the technical details of state law and local regulations. He pushed through a massive package of pro-business legislation, slashing taxes and cutting red tape. These measures helped transform Florida into a financial hub so significant that investors began calling it Wall Street South. Rubio's record in Florida demonstrated a mastery over the grinding mechanics of the state legislature. He proved he could navigate the difficult process required to turn political ideas into permanent, enforceable law. After losing the 2016 primary, Rubio began a systematic shift. He abandoned his previous defense of globalized free trade, aligning with the populist argument that the market must prioritize the American worker over global efficiency. He also changed his stance on the border. Rubio moved away from his earlier support for bipartisan immigration reform to embrace strict enforcement, mirroring the rhetoric that energized the new Republican base. However, he maintained one area of strict independence. He refused to soften his aggressive stance against foreign autocracies, continuing to demand maximum economic pressure and diplomatic isolation for regimes in Venezuela, Cuba, and China. By adopting the domestic language of the populist movement, Rubio earned the political capital he needed to survive. He traded flexibility on trade and immigration for the freedom to maintain his traditional hawkish worldview on the global stage. As Trump's second term began, many populist loyalists lacked the institutional experience needed to manage the federal bureaucracy. Early diplomatic efforts frequently stalled. Envoys with no foreign policy background struggled with complex negotiations, resulting in internal leaks and public disagreements with long-standing American allies. Rubio began stepping in to salvage these initiatives. Using his established diplomatic networks, he took over stalled files and successfully negotiated difficult international agreements, such as prison transfers with El Salvador. The administration eventually prioritized results over ideological purity. In a White House filled with newcomers, Rubio was elevated because he demonstrated a unique ability to navigate the complex systems of government. Rubio utilized his technical competence to marginalize the isolationist wing of the White House. He secured a position where he now oversees every major diplomatic and security decision the country makes. But this consolidation of power comes as the party prepares for 2028. With Donald Trump term limited, a succession crisis is already beginning to divide the administration. Vice President J.D. Vance stands as the ideological heir to the populist movement. He is a vocal critic of foreign intervention who is deeply connected to the cultural grievances of the MAGA base. This creates a divide within the party's future. Vance controls the populist ideology, the rallies and the base's loyalty. Rubio controls the institutional architecture, the State Department, the intelligence agencies, and the military strategy. The coming years will test a central question of modern governance. While populist rhetoric is necessary to win national elections, projecting influence on the world stage requires an operator who understands the internal structure of the American state.